One thing that's clear to me is innovation is evenly distributed where there are smart people. And there are smart people every place in the world. Innovation is not a monopoly of Silicon Valley or the United States or the developed world. Innovation is part of sort of the creative element that I think we find in the human condition everywhere. Entrepreneurship is a profession. It actually is practiced better in certain places than others. And it's important to distinguish the two, because I think when you merge the two, people resist the fact that there should be centers of excellence in entrepreneurship in some places and not in others. In fact, it took 70 years to build Silicon Valley up as a center of excellence in entrepreneurship. And it's a variety of things that came together to make that happen. From the time that Frederick Terman sort of at Stanford began to create this revolving door between this university and this valley for talent and ideas, to the time now where we see, Google and Twitter and Facebook, and now this wave of environmental green innovation. A lot has happened. I'd say there's a fundamental ethos in this valley that differentiates it from most of the centers of entrepreneurship in the world. And that is that failure is not personalized in Silicon Valley. Why is that important? It's important if you get what I was saying about getting to Plan B, which is if Plan A's are most often flawed, if we judge people on the ability to execute Plan A, and we judge them as individuals rather than as ventures, then we're going to have an awful lot of false negatives. And we're going to throw a lot of people out as failures. Whereas if we understand that Plan A's are most often flawed, and we understand that this is a process of innovation and experimentation, and getting it right by learning and investing in people, then we begin to think about how we structure these ventures differently. That's the core element that makes Silicon Valley different than most of the other entrepreneurial centers that I've run into around the world.
So earlier today, I was meeting with a group of corporate visitors who were asking me about how do they stimulate innovation within their company. I mean, it's not a company that's actually located here in Silicon Valley, and they're saying, how do we, what can we do? What are the levers we have to make that happen? I'm curious what sort of insights you would have on that.
I get the same questions all the time. I get them a lot more now at Kleiner Perkins because we have these large companies coming through from the oil and gas business as well as big consumer products companies, et cetera, and they always ask the same question. And I pose a question back to them, which is it okay in your business to fail 70% of the time? And they look at me like I'm crazy. And then I say, then you can't build up innovation excellence in your business. There's no way you can be an innovator if you're not going to allow people to fail more often than they succeed. But what does that mean for the business? Does it mean the business needs to fail? Absolutely not. The business can't afford to fail. But you've got to be able to run enough experiments to reinvent your business, your product, serve your customers, that you're willing to tolerate a high degree of failure. Intuit, not a small company by any means anymore, certainly not Procter & Gamble size, but a large public company, has been working with me around the getting to Plan B process. And they've instituted it to try to drive innovation. And what they found was before they started using the getting to Plan B process, they were over-investing. They were investing beyond the time that the information was coming back negative because there was no way to hold projects accountable. Now that they put the getting to Plan B process in place, they actually have more innovation going on because people will kill their own projects, because people will tell them when the data is no longer appropriate. And they don't want to continue with a project that's failing. They want to get into a project that's succeeding. And so the company's rewarding them for failing by allowing them to take new projects because they are now very accountable with the dollars and the time that they're spending on those projects. But if a large company is going to try to be a great innovator, they're going to have to build a culture in some part of their business that allows them to fail more than they succeed, or they should instead be a buyer of innovative companies.